Look, just a few minutes, we'll be making some major announcements regarding the future of Mug Club, and it's widening to a full-fledged network powered by Rumble. And what I mean by that is Mug Club, if you go to ladwithcrowder.com/Mug Club now, one portal, and it's a network to many different creators, some of whom we'll announce today and more to come. So
the sad thing about all this is it's going to work on a lot of his own fans. They're going to think he did something here. This is like me coming forward and being like, all right, comrades, this is the brand new Vanguard. I've launched it, and we're no longer going to be censored by neoliberal corporate capitalism. We have our own thing. I'm now proudly broadcasting on Twitch and bringing you, again, uncensored, unfiltered, incredible praxis so that you can start the revolution, comrades, simply by giving me your money. So this came out. Steven Crowder's influence has plummeted over the past year. He's made a career out of creating a show as ugly as he is, and now people are finally tuning out. Steven Crowder's empire of hate is collapsing. Hate-mongering bully Steven Crowder has had a very bad year. After a brutal fight with conservative outlet The Daily Wire and a series of reports about his abusive behavior towards his family and staff, Crowder's Rumble and YouTube views have plummeted. Crowder's YouTube video addressing the split from The Daily Wire on January 2nd received over 2 million views. His most recent video on the platform, however, barely broke 100,000, and his preceding video has only 59,000. Likewise, his Rumble account, Crowder's videos, once received over 2 million views. He hasn't broken 1 million views on Rumble since May. So here's the decline, and obviously special events are explaining the certain spikes. If you don't know, Steven Crowder obviously has a fuck ton of shit that has come out over the past year. Not just obviously him going through a very, what is to be a messy divorce, one that he didn't want, by the way, and now he's kind of really mad about the fact that, yes, people can decide one-party divorce is a problem, he feels, in order to be able to continue to control and manipulate women. The video footage that came out of his wife posting that he, in fact, is large part incredibly abusive, demanding that his wife, who was, I believe, pregnant at 8 or 9 months at the period of when that video is released, demanding that she go buy him groceries, that she go potentially use a dangerous dog medicine on their dog that could potentially impact their twins, you know, and their development at the time, saying that they only have one car and refusing to let her use it, demanding that she go use an Uber because he wants to sit at home and smoke cigars, while also saying, you know, fucking watch it. You know, because she's speaking back to him. There seems to be a very, very clear and concise pattern of abuse there. Then we had the first wave of ex-employees coming out, and not just that article that came out in the Daily Beast, or was it Mediaite? I think Mediaite was the second one, but basically a large selection of his ex-staff coming out saying he's very abusive. He's verbally abusive, he's physically abusive, and he's sexually abusive to staff. He has done everything from consistently expose himself, revealing, you know, his genitalia to his staff members, you know, obviously without consent or their permission, that notwithstanding. And he's also put his own genitals on other staff members as well. He's also made his staff members dress up in drag when they didn't want to. He's also made his staff members, you know, perform acts and sometimes sexual acts with him that they did not want to. We then had a random staff member, totally independent of this, come out and say that, yes, he was never comfortable working for Steven Crowder because Steven Crowder would often say things like, hey, we're going to own the libs by making you dress up in this weird way, and then I have to grease up your body with some oils and stuff like that. Obviously very bizarre behavior when it's like, how are we owning the libs? I kind of feel like you're just looking to grease up a bunch of men. Then the second round came out, and another series of staff members revealed that he is, yes, all the things that have been said above, very, very abusive in the work environment, very physically abusive as well as sexually abusive. Steven Crowder tried to downplay all of this, by the way, by doing a whole bit, by being like, it's funny, right? Okay, so here's my, you know, lawyer, and then the lawyer comes up and he's like, Steven, you've been accused of, wait, is that your penis? Yeah, that's it. It's funny, you know, it's all a joke to everybody. Along with a dwindling audience, Crowder has also lost support from other right-wing media personalities. Conservative columnist Bethany Mandel called Crowder a, quote, narcissistic jerk. Conservative cartoonist Scott Adams said Crowder's attack on the Daily Wire was bad form and claimed the platform's offer was a reasonable starting point. And conservative columnist Jonah Goldberg called Crowder an untalented buffoon. Yeah, I mean, broken clocks, right? You got offered so much money by the Daily Wire. Ben Shapiro's outfit was basically like, hey, we're going to make you a, what is it, 2 to 4 year offer for $50 million. And you are going to be able to do whatever skits you want. I'm not going to have any creative control over you, even though it does seem like he does incredibly racist and transphobic skits all the time. We're going to let you have creative freedom. You know, again, for an internet racist, transphobic show, this is probably one of the best offers in history, let alone entertainment in general, right? That's the kind of dream that like people, the Tucker Carlson and Anderson Cooper levels would dream of as a host. You have creative freedom. You get to be on our network. You get $50 million to be able to produce your show and pay your staff and all that kind of stuff. And then, yeah, you can also do Mug Club. You can also do your sponsorships. You can also do everything you want. The caveat being that, hey, if anything you do gets you obviously like demonetized or banned off these social media platforms, we want to recoup the costs as we are funding the entire thing. And we're going to put that in there in small print. Well, he completely backstabs them. He goes forward and says, by the way, they're big con. Yeah, big con and big tech are just trying to manipulate you. And they're the enemies too, everybody. We have to speak out against this because no one else will, which is just like, it's baffling and amazing because, yeah, just, you know, from an outsider's perspective, to let them fight on this is so glorious. And then everyone was so confused and the Daily Wire had to be like, here's the contract. We'll be totally transparent. We weren't trying to fuck him over. It's really weird that he's trying to backstab us all, but amazing, incredible. I didn't think that all of these things, one after the other, over the last year, were going to have these kind of effects on Crowder, but clearly the numbers are speaking for themselves. Crowder's once strong media presence appears to be collapsing, but how did it happen? In January, Crowder began a public war with the Daily Wire. It all started when Crowder accused an unnamed conservative platform of being in league with big tech against conservative content creators. The next day, Daily Wire CEO Jeremy Boring posted a video confirming that the unnamed platform was in fact the Daily Wire. He spent 30 minutes explaining the terms of the, quote, dream contract and oh yes, let me just tell you, as someone who has worked both in the film and entertainment industry, and in digital distribution, in digital media, as well as now I just basically run my own worker cooperative doing this stuff for my own intent and purposes, that amount of money is unheard of, unreal. $50 million for a racist, transphobic internet show, holy shit. Like that's again, and you had the ability in addition to that to make as much money as you wanted doing all that additional stuff, your sponsorships, your Mug Club, all that kind of shit. You could have made so much money. That's why it was like, it's baffling that you took it as an opportunity to secretly record the Daily Wire and people who work in there and then turn the whole thing on them. Which again, I guess we got to be thanking Crowder for all this. 4 weeks of paid vacation, full editorial control over content, staff, and the right to retain ownership of any previously created content, as well as $50 million. And like, if it's the fact that you don't own your own content, well, no shit. That's what the $50 million is for. That's them being like, yeah, you're going to be on the Daily Wire. You're going to be one of the characters on the Daily Wire. We own the show we produce because that's how this works. And that if you, for whatever reason, of course, I don't know, are too racist or too transphobic for mainstream media and you get kicked off of these platforms, we want to recoup our losses. Again, like a deal that like people in any situation would like bend over backwards to accept. Crowder not only publicly rejected the deal, but he played a secretly recorded tape of him and Boring discussing a possible contract. This was too much for the Daily Wire. Ben Shapiro called Crowder nasty on his podcast and went to express his condemnation of Crowder, along with a full timeline of the events which precipitated the escalating war between Daily Wire and YouTuber. Daily Wire host Candace Owens went on the attack as well, accusing Crowder of a, quote, bitch move, calling him a socialist. He went on to make vague threats of revealing personal and damaging information about Crowder if he did not cease his assault on the employer.
Unrelatable.
This, right?
Unrelatable. People are trying to pay for bacon and eggs right now at the grocery store, trying to buy a steak once a week, and you're over here crying.
I do love when rich conservatives try to play common man, by the way. You know, every single time it's like, oh yeah, you know, the average person working hard, working to make ends meet, buy their eggs and bacon, and then trying to have their 1 week lobster dinner. And then apparently, yeah, this comes along and they're supposed to like think like, yeah, is the average person going to be able to afford their steak?
Because somebody couldn't meet you at $120 million. And it is crying. I don't like it. It was a total bitch move. There are plenty of things that happen across all organizations in the conservative movement where I will say that I empathize and with Steven Crowder and saying that sometimes you feel like a cynic, which is like, is everybody selling out? Are people doing this, people doing that? There are a lot of things that Daily Wire has done that I disagree with. There's a lot of things that Turning Point has done that I disagree with. There are things perhaps that PragerU has done that I disagree with. I have worked with all of these companies, right? But to do a total bitch move and go out to the public rather than trying to resolve these things and these slight differences behind the scenes, and to make it seem like you're the hero and you're the true one and you keep it authentic when something really nothing happened other than you didn't like an initial term sheet and all you had to do was.
That's $1,000 top. Yes. Yeah. Like, so it's pretty wild for me being a Canadian, by the way. Sometimes whenever I go to the US, because I love visiting in America, I love Americans, I'll go into the supermarket to make purchases. And then I'll be like, holy fuck, is meat ever cheap in the United States? And don't get me wrong. It's obviously like all things getting more expensive by ratio, but like, Where is the steak they think that people are buying that's bankrupting them? The same thing goes for like how they've always said that, you know, millennials are bankrupting themselves in avocado toast. Where are these avocados? These like $30 avocados that are just bankrupting millennials. Just they can't help themselves. Like, oh yes, I wish I could pay the electricity bill, but gotta buy these avocados. They're so expensive.
Tell them that and tell them what you didn't like and go back and forth with lawyers like everybody else. I think it's crappy. I think Steve.
Steak in a restaurant can be, oh, of course, yes. Hey, if you're going to a fine steakhouse and you're having the experience of buying a steak, and then you're going to find in those kind of places, they're going to be like, well, your steak is actually priced individual from everything else. You buy your steak and then you buy your sides. And then, of course, your fucking expensive ass garlic bread is going to be the prelude. And then I'm going to make Caesar salad in front of you. Yeah, that's going to be an obscenely expensive endeavor. You're buying steak for barbecue in a supermarket, like, and you don't even have to buy steaks, by the way. They're always making fun of people who like eat, like, say things like fried chicken, or people who buy, like, you know, pork chops. It's because those things are delicious and you can make volumes of them, especially if you're feeding an entire family. You can buy an entire, like, you know, family pack of pork chops, marinate them, cook them up nice, and then, yeah, it's going to be a delicious dinner.
It's a little egocentric. He probably will do better on his own. I don't think he knows how to plan.
They think because they get steak at steakhouses, that explains it. Yeah, okay. So if you're, I mean, if you're shopping at the finest of steakhouses, then yes, you're walking away from like a $300 tab. You're like, oh, steak is so expensive. No wonder the poorest can't afford it, right? It's like, buy like a $10 round. What are you talking about?
And by the way, the last thing I'm going to say, because I'm going on Tim Pool's tonight, so I'm going to say it anyways later, is that I'm pretty sure, wasn't it Steven Crowder who also screwed over somebody he used to work with? Was it not Gay Jared? Because he had him tied up in a contract. Wasn't that Steven Crowder who did that? So is he supposed to be the moral high bar? Are we not supposed to call him out for that? Here's the thing. Steven, why don't you release not Gay Jared from his NDA and allow him to talk about how he felt he was treated by you? Because I know that at the Blaze, everyone says that you're actually not that nice. You treat people poorly, but you bring in so much revenue that everybody just has to take it. So I don't like it. It stinks to high heaven. And I'm calling you out on that because I think it was crappy that you threw mud on me. Did it the first time via a tweet a long time ago. You're not doing it a second time. Total bitch move. Next.
So I don't know if they're going to talk about it in this article. Maybe I'll hold off. There was actually some behind the scenes stuff that's absolutely hilarious, where it turns out as Steven Crowder was having trouble in his marriage, Candace Owens knew. How did Candace Owens know, you ask? Well, it turns out Steven Crowder, after having, you know, they did an event with the Daily Wire, everyone had a really fun time, he dropped into the Instagram replies and was just like, oh, your hair looked really good or something like that. And that's when Candace Owens started to do some investigating of her own to find out maybe there might be trouble in paradise. That's what she was alluding to when she was like, I know things about you, Steven, that I could reveal, but I won't because I'm a good person. It turns out the damaging personal information, though, was about to be exposed anyway. In April, Yashar Ali published a Ring camera video of Crowder's property, which showed the YouTuber verbally abusing his wife, Hillary. In the videos, Crowder told his pregnant wife, I will fuck you up, and ordered her to perform, quote, wifely duties. Crowder and his wife have been in a contentious divorce since December 2021. And by the way, it seems like the same crowd that are always talking about what it is to be a real man, a masculine man. We need more masculine men out there, right? We need more dudes. The ones that also want women to be trad wives, while I guess you're kind of getting what you paid for. You know, in that respect, I mean, people who are advocating all the time for this trad wifery, it turns out it's not actually that great in practice. It's kind of just like being in an abusive relationship, because by definition, that's what it is. If you're expecting your partner to do all of these domestic duties for you, to be a servant in a lot of ways, and then to do, in addition to that, complete, like, you know, let's do childcare as well. So you got to do childcare, you got to do maintenance, you got to do, cleaning and all that kind of stuff, and as well as cooking. We want this to be a top shop operation that is running at all times. Well, then that kind of fucking sucks, you know, because everyone is dealing with stress. The damage only continued. In May, the New York Post revealed that Crowder had a long history of abusing his staff. This included screaming, including at his father, Darren, who acts as his booker, as well as exposing his genitals to his employees. Mediaite followed this reporting in July, with Crowder creating a workplace that was rife with bullying, alarming and unpredictable behavior, as well as lewd sexual workplace misconduct. In addition to the sexual harassment, the reporting also stated that Crowder would offer and ask employees for drugs, including Klonopin and opiates. On his show, Crowder responded to the allegations that he sent pictures of his genitalia to his male employees, groomer-ish behavior that was said, according to a staff member, by doing a skit in which he showed his genitals to a staffer. Crowder has a long history of bullying on air. After Columbus police shot and killed Mickey Bryant in 2022, Crowder mocked her weight, once claimed that a disproportionate number of trans people are rapists and pedophiles, and said, I would like to send out gangs of R slur to lynch pedophiles. He's a racist who uses the N-word on his YouTube show. He also frequently attacked LGBTQ+ people and women. What the reporting about Crowder demonstrates is that he's a bully both on camera and on air. Crowder has since received an almost constant stream of YouTube suspensions. Most recently, he was suspended for allowing conspiracy theorist Alex Jones to host his show. He and Jones have been getting closer in their professional relationship. As an indication that Crowder has declined in popularity, he's turning to more extreme outlets. In March, Crowder signed a deal with Rumble to allow extreme right-wing platform to exclusively manage his content. Viewership on his shows of Rumble this year, though, clearly show his audience is rapidly dwindling. Though lack of character and professional foolishness, Steven Crowder's star is fading. He created a show that is ugly as he is, and now people are finally tuning out. I mean, I'm sure he secured that bag. I'm sure his contract with Rumble is going to keep him rich until the end of time. So even if people are turning away from him because of the many staff members who have come out to expose his behavior, as well as his insecurities, by the way. Like, it's one thing for Crowder to just be a hate network where he's constantly using his platform to go after queer folk, to go after black people, to go after people of color of any kind, to go after marginalized communities, to make their lives infinitely scarier and worse. And then it's another thing if behind the scenes he's actually doing a lot of those same bullying tactics to his own staff members and constantly, you know, exposing himself, fucking asking them for drugs, providing them with drugs, sexually abusing them, sexually molesting them. And it's obviously just abhorrent, both inside and out. And yeah, the fact that he's fallen off, I guess that's a good indication that there is a bar. There's a bar to which people who normally would love Steven Crowder are like, yeah, but you're just fucking everyone over, you know, like you're shitty in all respects. But yeah, hateful people are abusive and will be abusive. Yeah, he's always got stand-up though. He can fall back on his stand-up career. That's true. Can't forget about that. Man, things have come so far since Steven Chowder. I think it was almost 4 years ago that me and another serf named Dave decided to make a documentary on Steven Crowder's life. We called it Steven Chowder, and I portrayed Steven Chowder, who was a character of Steven Crowder, in the documentary, and we did a deep dive into all that makes Steven Crowder the career bully that he is, and it's a sad story. He too was bullied. He was bullied pretty heavily when he was a kid, and that I guess made him want to be a bully. So he wanted to bully others for the rest of his life, and it didn't matter whether they were people of color, if they were LGBTQ plus folk. It didn't matter as long as he could marginalize the marginalized to feel like a bigger man, to try and fill that hole in his heart for his own inadequacies. And that takes us all the way today, where he has left his original massive contract, I'm sure, that he had with the Blaze, and he got a $50 million offer from the Daily Wire and decided to backstab the Daily Wire, and now he's here. And he complained when he backstabbed the Daily Wire, saying, hey, by the way, everybody, this is Big Con in cahoots with Big Tech. They're partnering with people like Facebook, and they're trying to destroy us. And it's like, no, they basically very standardly put in their contract that if they're giving you $50 million, that should you be canceled, you have creative freedom, so you can do whatever you want. But if your, racist, transphobic sketch gets you demonetized, then they want to recoup their losses. That's what they said.
Hey, look who it is. He's spoiled. I don't usually do these cell phone videos, but tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern is the replatforming conference with some major announcements to the future of Mug Club. Hey, maybe we'll have bitten off more than we can chew, because it's phase 2 and there are a lot of changes that we're excited about. Some surprises and some things that you can guess, but look who's here. Yeah.
My hair will be different tomorrow.
And there's Nick.
Hi, how are you?
He doesn't like talking. He's playing his solitaire. 10 a.m. Eastern is the replatforming conference and the future of what we're going to be doing here. It's a big change, and it's something that I never really thought I would be doing.
Holy shit, the original Steven Chowder documentary I made 4 years ago, it's at 169,000 views. Nice. Nice. You can see how young we were back then.
Ooh, yeah. It's just a liberty. Drink the liberty in a mug. Drink the liberties. Yum, yum, yum.
I want to talk to you a little bit about villains and the term white supremacist. I mean, the term has become so ubiquitous that it's lost all meaning. I mean, is this a white supremacist? Is this a white supremacist? Is this a white supremacist? Is this? I mean, at this point, liberals throw that word around so much that it has absolutely no value to us. I mean, are we supposed to just say that certain things aren't better than others? Are we supposed to just deny science and logic? Is that what we're gonna do? I mean, is it racist to suggest that black athletes are better than white ones? Because I'm sorry, if you look at the stats, they're just better. it's just math, you know, at the end of the day. Is it weird to say that certain races have better IQs than other races? No. Asians have much higher IQs, and I'm sorry, on average, according to the science, they're smarter. If we were
I had a lot of comments from people being like, Crowder doesn't talk or do this. Crowder would never say these kind of things. This is like leftists exaggerating to the extreme. And I was like, this is actually kind of just directly based on a Crowder sketch. This was an actual Crowder sketch where he was just going off about white supremacists and how that term has no meaning anymore. And it was like, well, it does. I mean, you yourself are pretty much a white supremacist. We also like did a PragerU. I'll show you the PragerU thing at the start.
It's Columbus Day, or as you probably know it as Native American Day, or as it's also probably known Aboriginal Day, or as it should be called Free Casino Day. Yeah, another day that liberals are trying to make you feel guilty for enjoying. And if you know Columbus's first name, congratulations. You're smarter than your teacher, and you should probably sign up for PragerU and quit school altogether. Only listen to PragerU. Columbus was a complicated figure, for sure. But he was one of the greatest navigators of all time. Sure, he might have committed some light genocide. Sure, Columbus might have came over because he actually wanted gold. Sure, the entire reason that Columbus was enslaving the Native American people was because he wanted to go back and get a whole bunch of gold for the entire human race. Sure, he might have cut off the hands of a few of the Aboriginal people and made them wear them around like necklaces because at the end of the day, Columbus was just trying to get some of the gold. I mean, who doesn't love gold? I love gold. You love gold. PragerU loves gold. Here's the thing to remember. Columbus didn't commit the genocide of the Native American people. It was disease.
By the way, yeah, I know you're going to be like, oh God, Sweaty. Yeah, well, okay, we were filming this in front of a green screen with I've got lights blaring on my face, and we had to film this a couple of times. So yeah, it did get sweaty. It's hot in the summer.
Disease brought over by Columbus. At the end of the day, that doesn't really count. I mean, sure, he was actively trying to genocide the Native American people and enslave them, but just because he brought over some disease doesn't mean that he was the one who caused them all to die. And at the end of the day, are there any Native Americans walking around today? Do you see Native Americans walking around? No, you don't. And why is that? It's because they were cannibals. They were filthy, disgusting cannibals. They used to eat each other all the time. They would eat each other every day. That's why there's no Native Americans, because every single one ate each other. And if you want to talk about how they were a beautiful panacea, this two-spirit culture, we all know what two-spirit means. It means that they have mental disabilities, because anyone who thinks that they're more than one gender or identity is obviously messed up in the head. Don't listen to your teachers. Never listen to your teachers. Only listen to PragerU. It's the only thing that's important. And just remember, folks, happy Columbus Day.
Oh yeah, I'm a hero man. Well, I'm a hero man. Yes, I'm a hero man. I only like titties on a woman, 'cause I'm a hero man. Only like to suck on a woman, 'cause I'm a hero man. No homo, no homo, no homo, yeah. Hetero man.
I hate watching sometimes old projects, but I gotta say, Hetero Man, the song written by yours truly, still slaps, goes hard. It actually went on for a bit longer after that, but I cut it out because it's just started getting ridiculous. Got into like, oh yeah, if that's a dick on a woman, it's not the kind of dick that I would suck. You know, shit like that. We had fun with it. So anyways, that takes us to 4 years later. Whew, yikes, wow, Crowder. We kind of aged in reverse, the two of us.
This capacity, I guess. I don't like doing these cell phone videos. What, am I supposed to show what I'm drinking, like a latte or something? I don't know. How do I, where's this? Is this record 10 a.m. Eastern? Hit that button?
Hit the button.
Okay. Hey, look who it is.
Okay, so what's the big announcement? Reveal. 4 Steven Crowder staffers exit show after interrogations and, quote, insane NDAs. Steven Crowder sent draconian non-disclosure agreements to his staff with a $100,000 breach of contract penalty after Mediaite reported on allegations of workplace misconduct on the right-wing commentator's Rumble show. 5 current and former staffers said. Last month, Mediaite reported on allegations of bullying, inappropriate drug use, lewd sexual workplace misconduct at Louder with Crowder, the popular online show that recently joined Rumble, YouTube alternative. 2 hours after Mediaite published a follow-up report detailing an internal staff meeting at Louder with Crowder held in response to the initial story, in which CEO Gerald Morgan told staffers they could no longer communicate with former employees. NDAs were sent out. You know why? Because it's one of those like, we got moles. We got a mole. So one of you is a rat. In fact, four of you are rats. So all four of you sign NDAs right now so we get no more of this. Because, again, the accusations are pretty bad, both that he was exposing himself frequently, that he was putting his genitalia on coworkers, that he was demanding that they do acts that they found to be inappropriate, such as dressing in uncomfortable and highly sexualized ways, that he was both providing them and asking for drugs from his staff. A lot of very serious accusations. The agreements, which were reviewed by Mediaite, were emailed to current Louder with Crowder employees on July 26th. The mole continues. Good job. And read in part, employee maintains his promise and covenants, not covenants? Covenants? What the fuck? Cult shit. Not to disclose confidential information as defined in the amendment. Company will provide employee with confidential information during the period in which employee is employed by the company. The agreement added that if a breach of contract should occur, the employee would be liable to the company for liquidated damages in the amount of $100,000. I hereby acknowledge the damages are reasonable and do not constitute a penalty, and I further agree that I will not contest the reasonableness of said liquidated damages in any such action commenced by either party with respect to the amendment. The staffers were told they had to sign the NDA by Friday. On July 27th, Crowder held a meeting in which he warned the staff against speaking out. Stephen was livid, a source close to Rumble told Mediaite. He and Gerald Morgan said they knew someone was talking to you, author of this piece, based on the article you wrote. They said whoever text messages former employees were not about us being able to hang out with them would be given amnesty if we confessed by 2 p.m. He wanted a fucking confession. He's like, one of you's a rat. Now speak now, and whoever rats out the other rats, you'll be given amnesty. Yeah, now's your opportunity. Guess it didn't work out. If no one confessed, they would see it as malice. No one confessed, so they started interrogating a few people. I wonder, like, what were the boundaries that were pushed there, right? Because you can't necessarily simply just, like, start interrogating your employees to find out whether or not one of them is betraying you, in this sense. During the meeting, Crowder downplayed his sexual misconduct allegations, said another source close to the soon-to-be divorced father of two. And that's got to be a tough one, too, if you're like, hey, they said wild things about me. I never did that. I never pulled my dick out. I never showed you my cock. And then everyone who's sitting there is like, yeah, you did. You do that every day, dude. It's like your favorite thing. And it's like, hey, welcome to Louder with Crowder. Look, it's my brain. Look at my brain. I'm hanging it. If you're not okay with guys playing sack tap, then this isn't the place for you, the source told Crowder, referring to the act of tapping another person's genitals. After the interrogation of current staffers, 4 employees departed the company. The NDA was insane, said one source close to Crowder. Most employees were scared because of it. Some talked to lawyers about it because they were afraid, but thought if they didn't sign, it would incriminate themselves. He was intimidating. Stephen's increasing justification for his workplace sexual behavior between men makes a lot of male employees uncomfortable. He always says it's joking, but it doesn't seem like a joke to anyone anymore. Yeah, I mean, there's only so far. There's only so many times that, you know, you can tell your colleagues, by the way, I need you to dress in a thong while I, you know, cover you in garlic butter, and then we own the libs together by running around. We should probably practice the scene a couple times back at my place, if you don't mind. I've got all the materials ready to go, and the butter is melted, so maybe you could come by and I can rub it on you. And then, obviously, people at a certain point are going to be like, I don't think he's joking. Like, if it is, he's run that joke into the ground at this point. A former Louder with Crowder employee said the NDA and bullying tactics are a clear sign that toxic workplace culture will not be cleaned up anytime soon. The real problems never get fixed because the real studio problems revolve around Crowder's refusal to take responsibility, they said. He's never to blame. Gerald and Stephen intimidate and bully the staff. They try to divide and conquer. They treat former employees like people who've left their cult and can no longer be trusted, and current employees are commanded to not associate with those former employees. And that's typical cult-like behavior, right? Where you're like, oh yeah, that's the only reason people are saying this. They're saying that I'm a sexual assaulter, that I'm doing all this kind of like disgusting sexual acts on people, and that's just because they don't trust in the plan anymore. Now, I'll have you just gaze downward if you could, because I have my cock out and I'd like you to look upon it for a little while. They compared Louder with Crowder to how Scientologists aren't allowed to associate with people who left the church, how corrupt or clueless do you have to be to respond to reports of employee abuse by turning around and threatening employees with a $100,000 fine. The NDA kerfuffle has caused further turmoil amongst Crowder staff, and a new hiring announcement this same week added fuel on the internal issues. Michael Spadone, the former field director at Project Veritas, who was accused of kissing and groping a former colleague in a sense-settled lawsuit, has been brought on to Louder with Crowder's team. Sources close to Crowder saw it as a questionable hiring decision due to the recent claims against Spadone. The whole situation is obviously extremely concerning for the women who work in the studio. Steven's sexual habits and behavior at the work are troublesome enough, but to find out a man of alleged sexual assault has been hired by Steven the same week that you've handed a fresh NDA with a $100,000 penalty would leave anyone scared. Crowder did not respond to requests for comment. Yeah, I'm not surprised there. So let's see what this is all about, because now he has launched it on YouTube. Damn. Only 55,000 views with 5.83 million subscribers?
People that rail against misinformation form
Every single one. When no compromise is necessary. And I'll go one further. Where no compromise should ever be expected from you. It is time to match intensity. Every single one of you watching or listening right now needs to flip a switch in your head where you will make those sons of bitches embarrassed that they ever even thought of asking that compromise.
Imagine the founding fathers looking down and going, what the f are you people doing?
You're talking about the same people that rail against misinformation, who...
Oh, that is the Mad TV guy. Damn. Guess life post Mad TV has been difficult, eh?
platform Adam Schiff.
This case needs to be blown up and the ATF needs to be held accountable.
Who? Like, that was your top bill. I barely recognize the first guy. I know the second dude from Mad TV, but this is your top bill right now? And then it's like, Mr. Gergensklim Scrubber. It's like, what? Who? And then comes Professor Slorm. Like, wait, what's going on here? Go gadget cancel culture has arrived.
Why can't we not condemn evil behavior?
Wait, that was it? You only could get 3 people to sign on board to this? That was the replatforming? In the original trailer for the replatforming, by the way, they opened it with this like little clip from the Majority Report, and I was like, that's a weird thing for you to do, to be like the replatforming Majority Report when like you were pretty much cancel culturing Sam Cedar every time he becomes like even a known presence to you. We're watching this on YouTube, by the way. This also streamed on YouTube. As a former video professional, do you have any reason why the Mission Impossible font looks so cheap in this trailer? Is it just me? They're using, I'm assuming they're just using a template. You can, like, I use templates all the time, by the way. I'm not trying to shit on people who use templates. It's a really easy way to, like, not have to directly develop this from scratch on Adobe After Effects or, you know, Premiere Motion. But, like, in both cases, yeah, it's not done well. Replatforming begins now on Rumble, but also on YouTube.
Hello, Mug Club, and all you strange animals out there. We've been hard at work with our friends at Rumble to bring you the first network controlled by creators and 2 of the biggest giants.
By the way, this 100% seems just like a divorced men club. Like, that's the vibes I'm getting right now, you know? Yeah, no, we're strong. They were crazy. Yeah, they were crazy bitches. Yeah, I don't know. We're good. We're good. Yeah.
Giants in this industry are joining forces under the same umbrella. No more censorship. No more big tech dependence. No more one-sided contracts. The time for an open, honest, and transparent network has arrived.
So what they're doing is they're doing capitalism with some of the soupçons, if you will, of socialism. They're trying to make you feel like some of the things that you like, and this is what populists usually try to tap into, the very idea of ownership itself, right? Like, you will be part of this network. No one will be canceled. No one can get canceled. If we get canceled on YouTube, we put it up on Rumble, just like that. It's impossible to cancel us now, and you control the narrative. And it's like, but but who controls the show? Who owns it? Who gets the money, and then who pays out the salaries of everyone else? Steven. So so in that sense, it hasn't changed at all from other models, identical to other ones. The difference being is that Steven is now in control of that model. So revolutionary.
The time for a network controlled by the creators has arrived. The time for a network that allows creators to focus on their audience has arrived. If you're signing up for Mug Club,
you keep saying a network. You're not actually starting your own network. Like, at least a lot of other people can say that they went through the trouble of starting alternatives to YouTube and stuff when they got canceled. Look at censored.tv. But I mean, it is very expensive to have to do that. You know, server hosts, cost, staff, all that kind of stuff. So much easier just to be like, hey, you know what? Our hosting platform is going to be Rumble and YouTube. And but we are a network. This is a network that is controlled by creators. It's controlled by Steven Crowder, but there's other people who he's hired to also work for him.
Today, use promo code REPLATFORMING for a free Fight Like Hell t-shirt. Join us.
Fucking cringe.
In that fight. We didn't seek this out, guys. We didn't look for the extra work of trying to start a network.
Come on,
It's so cringe how you all try to be tough guy heroes in every respect, every single time. We didn't want this fight. This fight came to us. We didn't decide to have to take on big tech, but we're gonna do it because we're heroes, we're valiant, and we're courageous. You know, unlike our fucking competitors and enemies, Ben Shapiro.
We wanted to do a show. We wanted to make people laugh. We wanted to educate and entertain them and try to help save our country. But so many of you weren't being served. It was all about scam advertising, dishonest tactics, censorship, playing ball with people that don't share your values, and we couldn't stand idly by while that happened. They want to cancel every one of you and every one of us. But because of you, because of Mug Club, they can't touch us. Let the replatforming begin.
This is a really sad way of marketing the fact that you're just rebranding again, but that's the only thing that's really changed. And you're not even really rebranding, you're calling it the replatforming. But all that happened was that he went from Blaze to a contract with Rumble. That's the only difference. And sure, he's got a handful of people who are now going to be working for him. It's no surprise there either. This is actually exactly what I said was going to happen. I said, hey, how you're going to see this play out? Steven Crowder is going to market the entire thing as us versus them, us versus big tech, us the little guy, you know, the common man, and allowing for creative freedom. No more exploitation in the way so many other people exploit others. And in this case, it's just Steven Crowder exploiting everyone. And of course.
Democrats are afraid of this guy. The liberal media can't stand him, and big tech wants to cancel him, but you have made him uncancelable. Welcome the strange animal himself, Steven Crowder! You're a strange animal, that's what I know. You're a strange animal.
I don't know. What do you think, Chad? I know you're all biased, but I think Hetero Man goes way harder than this theme song. Way harder.
That's what I'm talking about! Hell, coming with me! Fight like hell!
Fight like hell! Do it! Fight someone!
All right, welcome to the Replatforming Conference. We have some members of the press and friends here. Thanks for coming out. We'll be taking some questions from them later. Boy, that was a self-important intro, but thank you guys for putting it together.
Beautiful.
I never feel comfortable with that. I wish I were a rapper. So, look, just a few minutes, we'll be making some major announcements regarding the future of Mug Club, and it's widening to a full-fledged network powered by Rumble. And what I mean by that is Mug Club, if you go to ladderscreditor.com/Mug Club now, one portal, and it's a network to many different creators, some of whom we'll announce today and more to come. So
the sad thing about all this is it's going to work on a lot of his own fans. They're going to think he did something here. This is like me coming forward and being like, all right, comrades, this is the brand new Vanguard. I've launched it, and we're no longer going to be censored by neoliberal fucking corporate capitalism. We have our own thing. I'm now proudly broadcasting on Twitch, and bringing you, again, uncensored, unfiltered, incredible praxis so that you can start the revolution, comrades, simply by giving me your money. I'm going to need as much of it as possible. If you can, give some subs out, gift them to everybody else, and then we're going to obviously take down all of our opponents and win. This is a fight for our country. Just assume that I'm American for a little bit, because there's more American viewers probably, so we'll say our country being America for now, even though I'm not American or live in America. But it's a fight to take back America for Americans from something. We haven't totally figured out our enemies yet.
We have announcements regarding new shows, new types of content, new ways to impact the country, this increasingly silly place, and the tyrannical platforms of big tech. But first, let's get into this a little bit. Replatforming is the title here for a reason.
Hey, canceling culture. Don't cancel me, all right? Okay, you can't cancel me for my faults. I didn't choose this, all right?
And because of all of these announcements and the people from whom you're about to hear, replatforming is a story about what's been lost, what's been risked, really what's been taken from people, and what's starting today we will all actively begin to regain. And before that, Mug Club's been around for such a long time that it kind of occurred to me, for some of the folks new here, I haven't done a great job in explaining to you what Mug Club is, what phase one at least has been up until now, before we get to the new announcements. It's a simple concept, Mug Club. We bleed so you don't have to. We've had people come up and say, hey, you know, I wish I could say some of these things that, you know, you guys can say on there, but I'll get fired from my job.
Like, it's such a sad way to do this. You're lying. This is marketing. You're basically like, hey, so this is activism. And we know that you want to fight against cancel culture and wokeness, the two worst things that are happening to society right now. And we know that you know that if you do that, you could get in trouble from your employers and stuff. Not us. Not us. We're willing, okay, to take all of it. We're willing to take all of the bullets that come from being super, super racist and white. So what we're going to do is ask you to pay us. So that's what Mug Club is, essentially. You pay a subscription. You buy a yearly subscription, by the way. It's not a daily thing. And then we secure our ability to fight for you all the time.
I want you to get fired from your job. But when you join up, when you give us your dollar.
Oh, he actually said get fired from your job. Wow. The life imitates art, reality crosses.
We have to be able to say what it is that you can't say. Otherwise, we're stealing from you. If we play ball with big tech, if we decide to take your dollar, but then say, we got to make tens of millions of dollars off you.
This is on YouTube, Crowder.
Too bad revenue. We're screwing you. So Mug Club is exactly what has allowed us, all of us, to remain completely independent since 2016. Before that, online revenue was generated by ads. Okay, some inside baseball here. I knew back then in order to maintain that.
From inside baseball. AKA, just so you know, a lot of people give me money. A lot of money. A lot of it. Millions of dollars, actually, by subscribing to this Mug Club thing. So that's doing pretty good. Not bad. Not bad. I guess if I just said that to you, it'd kind of sound like I'm just basically making millions of dollars off you, my audience. That wouldn't come across as great. What's better than this? How about that we are taking bullets for you? Yeah, we're just taking bullets every single day in the sense that we are going to be brave. We're willing to say the N-word as a bunch of white people, and we're willing to do that because we know you want to. Deep down, all of you want to, but you'll get fired from your jobs if you do, so we'll do it. And then you can laugh along with us, you can share the videos, and it's like a simulation for that.
And I would have to make compromises. YouTube, Facebook, they kept telling us what kind of content we were permitted to post, what kind of creators they would be happy to work with, and exactly what kind of people, what kind of conservatives would be put in the corner. I couldn't stomach it then, I can't stomach it now, and no one here can, and because of Mug Club, because of you, we don't have to. Give you some history. Because of Mug Club, when NBC Universal, Vox, CNN tried to deplatform all of us, meaning us and you, we survived the Vox apocalypse. YouTube, Google said, hey, you're not going to make another dime off ads. And because of you, Mug Club, we said, fine. Viewers like you know how PBS says that, but really they mean another grant, more money, please?
Oh, so you haven't taken any money outside of Mug Club? There's no money that was given to you from Rumble? You just joined Rumble for free like anyone else joins Rumble? For $0? Interesting.
Because of Mug Club, with zero ad revenue, we were able to host the single most viewed, individually viewed, I should say, election stream of 2020. And because of Mug Club, not being beholden to big tech's advertising or their guidelines, we were able to cover the voting dumps as they happened, the boarded up polling stations as they happened, the corrupt early calling of states as they happened, and the gaslighting of you from the media and big tech for believing your lying eyes and lying ears. Completely demonetized. We can keep fighting because of Mug Club. And when we were banned, by the way, from covering the midterm elections, 2024 kicked off YouTube just a week before happenstance, YouTube and Google. Because of Mug Club, we broadcast the single largest individual election live stream to occur on any other platform outside of YouTube, doing it through Rumble in the history of the internet. Completely demonetized. We can keep fighting and growing because of Mug Club. Because of Mug Club, when the entire...
Like, when you joined Rumble, they were so excited that they actually posted a picture of your YouTube gold being used at a shooting range. But this was all for free? Interesting. I mean, that's generous of you to just from the bottom of your heart. You were offered $50 million from Daily Wire, which you could have used again to competitively negotiate with other providers. And Rumble has openly said that they are paying people for content, and they've openly signed contracts with the likes of Donald Trump Jr. as well as Glenn Greenwald, but not you, Stephen. You who just again prior to that was offered $50 million by the Daily Wire.
The entire world went crazy and locked down due to the China virus. And you were going stir crazy with nowhere to go, and even conservative hosts were suspending their broadcasting or doing it from their basement with a webcam. We were able to be right here with you, and instead, for an entire month, broadcast 2-a-days with Mug Club Quarantine. The entire staff right here from this very studio. Because of Mug Club, during that same time, we were able to introduce whistle.
This is totally unrelated, but I just got sent this. Grimes just did an interview with Wired, and you mentioned Twitter. Did you call out to Elon that you were disturbed by some of his tweets? I don't want to talk about this too much, but take the trans thing. After that, we had a big long conversation. I was like, I want to dissect why you're so stressed about this. Getting to the heart of what Elon says helps me get to the heart of what other people's issues are, because it's this Uber guy situation. And it came down to pretty much every way that you transition can cause fertility issues. I was like, okay, you don't hate trans people, you hate woke culture. I get that it can be annoying and you have concerns about the fertility thing. So let's figure it out, because there's a lot of fertility tech that could help be innovated to help trans people have kids, which would be great and would solve a lot of problems. He's just on Twitter and he's unhappy with woke people, and the arguments happened. That would be weird if someone's like, I don't like trans people because of fertility issues, and you responded with, oh, so you hate wokeness. I'd be like, no, he seems to have a lot of things going on. Seems like the man has a breeding fetish, first off, and that he's combining that with his obvious transphobia into something where he feels that trans people are lesser than because he feels that they can't have kids. And surprise, surprise, they can. That's the other part of this, which is also super, super strange. In fact, the fact that they can seems to really piss off a lot of people when you say, hey, by the way, men can get pregnant. People who are non-binary can get pregnant. They're like, no. No, they can't. That's a defiance of the laws of God.
Blowers like Dr. Peter McCullough, other practicing biologists to the world. The very first week of lockdown.
Oh, we know how much Glenn Greenwald got. I think it was openly stated. Glenn Green, it's like 600,000 Rumble payout.
And when we were suspended for daring to question the status quo, we survived. Completely demonetized. We can keep fighting because of Mug Club. And because of Mug Club, when on the very same day, we're making some announcements here today, but think of this, the very same day Alex Jones was deplatformed from YouTube, Google, Facebook, Twitter, Apple, Spotify, along with a warning that anyone hosting him would be suspended themselves, and many of his so-called friends abandoned him, we hosted him immediately, and we wore that suspension with honor. Completely demonetized. We can keep fighting because of Mug Club. And
this is so boring. It's also just like, it's so sad that his entire, like, you know, team of people will eat this shit up and be like, oh my God, yeah, we're fighting the fight. We're taking our country back one mug at a time.
And because we did, and because so many of you watched and joined, YouTube reversed course and allowed Alex Jones to appear on programs just as a guest moving forward. He just wasn't allowed to host a program of his own, they said. And so, because of Mug Club, we immediately allowed Alex Jones to fill in host for this very show.
Okay, so hold on. I think I have Rumble, a YouTube rival. Popular with conservatives will pay creators who challenge the status quo. Blah, blah, blah. Glenn Greenwald committed to posting videos, doesn't ban racism, filled with Holocaust denial, blah, blah, blah. Gabbard and Greenwald, oh yeah, they paid for Tulsi Gabbard show too. Greenwald have expanded their fan bases in recent months by criticizing what they call overly aggressive media censorship. Greenwald, liberating, not uncomfortable. Rumble, Greenwald said, reached out to him 2 months ago offering a deal to produce high-quality videos that would help show Rumble can be a hospitable place for non-MAGA people, a term supporters of former President Donald Trump and Make America Great Again catchphrase. The company declined to provide financial details, but Greenwald said the top creators' year-long contracts will pay in the mid-range 6 figures. Wow. I really got to reach out to Rumble. I've been wanting to do this bit where like I reach out to them publicly on Twitter, be like, hey, by the way, I don't want to be cucked anymore by big tech. I hear you guys are pro freedom of speech. I really want to make a show about how Peter Thiel is a fucking horrifying ghoul. Will you like sponsor it? Because I don't know if they would, but they might.
And we wore our immediate suspension with pride. Completely demonetized, we could keep fighting and growing because of Mug Club. Mug Club is why we were able to cover the lied about origins of COVID-19 and the potential side effects of the experimental mRNA injection while it was strictly forbidden.
So, by the way, he's taking credit for Rumble existing. That's essentially what all of this is. Like, first off, he's taking credit for somehow trying to collect people's money, but present it as something other than I'm just taking in your donations, saying that, hey, your donations are actually part of a movement. Yeah, this is a revolution, comrades. But also, Rumble is the reason why a lot of that was possible. Like, yeah, if YouTube bans you for 2 weeks and then you broadcast on Rumble instead, yeah, Rumble's the one facilitating that. They're the ones paying for server costs. They're the ones paying for tech and staff to be able to run all this. This has nothing to do with you. You didn't even invent your own network. Like, at least the Daily Wire can be like, oh yes, well, we actually run our own network, the Daily Wire, that people can buy for a subscription like a Netflix. That is an additional incurring cost for them to do that. You're just basically hosting on a free hosting site, Rumble, that you've been paid to be on, by the way. There's no question about that. And then passing it off as like, and we're beating everyone. Before it was allowed.
And Mug Club is why, when even not nearly, every mainstream conservative that we can think of said that we lived through the most secure election of our lifetime, with you can count on one hand exceptions, we were able to cover exactly why that was verifiably, irrefutably untrue, while it was strictly, again, forbidden to do so on YouTube and Facebook.
This is on YouTube. You're saying this on YouTube. This whole thing streamed live on YouTube. It's still up on YouTube. It's got 53,000 views on YouTube.
Until YouTube just officially announced that it'll be allowed. And that's the most important part. Something that maybe we take for granted and you take for granted. When I say it's you, it's not just a buzzword. It's precisely because of you, Mug Club, that these things are now even permissible on these big tech platforms.
And thank God he's not dependent on ad revenue, because, oh boy. Man, the divorce energy is off the charts.
If you heard that voice, there's some foreshadowing. Son of a bitch. Because seriously, Mug Club is the tip of the spear. Mug Club can't...
Oh, I wonder if you put his please clap button underneath the thing, if that yellow button's still there. Where it's like, all right, yeah, that's right.
For all of its flaws, and there are many, Gerald. Mug Club cannot be bought, sold, or bargained with. That's the reputation. Take it or leave it. And when an entity like that, when an entity comprised of nothing more than all of you, you are who we serve. You are to whom we are beholden. And you're the driver of billions.
Crowder's literally looking for video editors on LinkedIn. Do you have a link?
Of views and listeners cumulatively. The people who want to silence you, who want to dictate what you hear, who hate everything you stand for, well, guess what? They can't deplatform us all. They'd have no one left to do business with. So now as a full-fledged network, and the announcements we're about to make, and continue to make, Mug Club is bigger than them. Mug Club is why we don't need them. And that's why all of us here are genuinely free. You, Mug Club, are the reason that they are scared.
Again, he's taking credit for Rumble existing. That's all this is. He's taking credit for Rumble existing and trying not to pass off the fact that, like, it's basically... He's taking, I'm sure, millions of dollars still from Mug Club. Even in the downfall right now, Steven Crowder, even though his numbers are fucking straight in the toilet, you know, as you can see on Rumble, it's just a fucking collapsing empire. In large part due to, I think, a lot of people kind of just being disgusted by the guy, right? It's like, how many stories do you need of multiple employees coming out and be like, this man is a sexual deviant who, like, tries to molest his male staff all the time.
Hey everyone, this is Steven Crowder. What we're talking about is free speech.
Steven Crowder. It's very offensive. Very offensive.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Steven.
You piece of living garbage-ass dumpster fire.
I can guarantee you, multiple people right here have been raped.
What? How can you guarantee that?
People call me the Tony Robbins of assassinations.
I'm trying to watch live. I'm trying to watch this global watch daily.
I mean, yeah, I get it. A paycheck's a paycheck. If you have to go take that job, take it. But I would ask that if you happen to be a non-right winger or someone who doesn't believe in, you know, hating on queer folk, that if you are a Crowder's editor, just add a whole bunch of secret messages into his videos. It's really easy to do. You could just basically like put up here like Steven Crowder drinks dog cum, and then just make it very, very, very light. Only put it in for 1 or 2 frames tops, and then just have those be like little Easter eggs for people to find. Yeah, single frame. They won't find it.
And I'm gonna drown every last damn demon baby that I come across. When it's a runoff, walk off, demon baby off, I'll go off with your demon baby.
So, by the way, he was also hyping up the fact that he's got all these like canceled people who are now on his show. It's the stand-up dude for Mad TV. Yeah, and that's his biggest name, I guess. That's the biggest get he got.
My girl wanted me to run an errand, and she goes, "Take my bike, but it has a basket on the front of it." I was like, "I'm gonna walk, you know? I just feel like I'm a target for homophobic bandits, you know?"
Maybe don't be a homophobe. I don't know. If your first thought when you see a basket on a bicycle is like, oh, but people are gonna think I'm gay, maybe stop contributing to that world then. I don't know. Yeah, fellas, is it gay not to spill groceries all over the ground as you're bringing them back from a market?
Holy, you know, most serial killers are white, but you know why? To be a serial killer takes a lot of effort. It's like a full-time job. Black crime is just quick and simple. You know that show, The First 48? They have a new one, The First 48 Seconds. It's just black crimes.
I've never heard the N-word so much in my life, and I had a racist grandmother.
And if you try to take our guns, 1776 will commence again.
You know how we're always saying that, like, you know, it's kind of a meme. Really seems that whenever they talk about, like, freedom of speech, we care about freedom of speech. It's like, I just feel like it's just a whole bunch of white dudes want to say the N-word, and then it's time and time again, it seems to be true.
We should fight with unwavering confidence for world freedom!
Oh. The replatforming. So what, are you going to bring all these people on to give speeches? Yeah, I don't care. Thank you so much, Steven, for giving me a second chance. I was canceled because my jokes weren't funny, but now I can say the N-word all I want.
Creating here, and again, you can go to loudwithcrowder.com/modclub, enter in the promo code replat.
Eventually, they will censor you, they will deplatform you, they will label you, they will vilify you. The rules grow more specific, weirder, and more plentiful by the day. And as I speak, you'll even be punished if you stand with traditional beliefs and values. Well, welcome to the pushback.
Why do you all need like a support group then? This is all made up. It's a support group for a made up imaginary thing. You're all fucking nonstop going off about, oh, we've all been canceled, cancel culture, they want to censor you, big tech is coming after you. Thankfully, we found a way to defeat it. We did it.
Alexis, look over here.
See that?
Oh, and this next guy. Again, this is before the announcements that we're making, and I'm incredibly excited for some of those. But this is a guy.
And the T-shirt was not my idea. What is this, Ariag?
I guess they're really appealing to kind of like whatever boomer demographic actually uses Rumble as opposed to watching Fox News. That's what they're trying to capture here. Because I think for most people, a lot of the responses are going to be like, who are these people?
Grande's fucking.
You look good.
Yeah. Great to be here. Seriously, you came along at a good time. My wife has a coke problem. A lot of bills. Got a dog with cataracts. Steven calls me. Where do I sign up? Now I'm here. Shit we're in, thanks to the leftist elitist scum that make up both the mainstream media and that vast criminal enterprise known as the Democrat Party. Oh, fuck, I want to kill him. Whether it's confronting brainwashed students on a college campus.
I mean, they can't get canceled, right? So I guess they can say whatever they want now.
Just calling out politicians on their bullshit. No one has been doing it longer and better than our fearless leader here, Steven Crowder. Please, more applause for Crowder.
More Gen X than Boomer? Okay, maybe that's it. Because, yeah, I can see Gen X obviously using Rumble on a regular basis.
And by the way, Nick's show is still going on. Our show, Loud with Crowder, is going to be coming back Monday.
Experienced field operative to track down leads, expose corruption.
What can I say about values? here, and we know that you have ours, and we're incredibly grateful. We'd much rather owe you a favor.
Or the Hodge twins part of it?
Got a damn good shit. My daddy, he's from Africa. What? Like Black Africa? Yeah, he's from Zimbabwe. That place is a shit. We talk about my reparations for my ancestors' pain and suffering. Yeah. It's time for me to get paid. Time to make us whole. Yeah. Damn, that's just gay sending me pictures of you flexing. Who do I look like? Justin Smollett?
Okay.
Gay as hell, man. I don't do that Dave stuff. But just because you use Dave pronoun don't mean you can't talk trash about him. You know Dave's a dumbass.
You guys said you voted for Obama at least the first time, right?
First time, second time, Mitt Romney.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Oh, that's surprising. Because he's like the whitest guy ever.
He's pretty white.
I get a little scared being falsely accused of rape and dog sometimes. I'm saying that Mud Club might be more necessary than ever because YouTube has become a liberal hole.
Whoa. Am I going to get in trouble because I showed that on screen? Isn't that something that's considered a horrifying slur against white people?
And by the way, there's a video that they'll be releasing on social regarding their new show and what you can expect from them here at Mug Club. And frankly, we don't entirely know.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, they're not even there.
They live in a duplex next to each other. They go to the bathroom together when they're here in this.
Oh, okay. So they didn't care enough to even show up for your fucking your announcement celebration. I mean, hey, you know what? That's a point for the Hodge twins right there. That's a +1.
Studio. But they're gentlemen.
Not a joke.
Way to like collect the paycheck and also just kind of be like, I don't give a fuck about this weird like support group that you're sitting on.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin'.
Oh, is Alex Jones a part of it too? What a surprise. Good time to grab Alex Jones.
Alex Jones, everybody.
Damn, they saved him for like 41 minutes into this. It's like the worst Super Smash Bros. Roster. Yeah, pretty much.
Thank you. Listen, I want to thank everybody tuning in. I want to thank everybody tuning in right now, but I want to be deadly serious here. I've not been this excited ever. Oh, yeah, Mug Club, baby. Wow. So, I've known Steven for more than 10 years. Used to, beg him to come on my show. Always a really busy guy, and he's been popular forever. But we kind of knew each other. But as soon as I got deplatformed, he saw it as a threat. And he said, I want you on immediately. The day after, when everybody else was running away, including my friends, he was like, no, this is a danger to everybody. I see what this is. And then again, everybody else was shutting down during the lockdown. I didn't, he didn't. And so it's that type of instinctive courage that I really respect. We've become good friends the last 3 or 4 years. Since then, I love coming up here. I love the energy, control, the populace thing. It's an investigative unit, everything. We're going to withdraw support of people targeting children and sexualization. Pretty great people, but it's like you are in a bunker.
All the classics.
I just, again, because we had to change one of the credit card processing companies that we use because of how anti-freedom, we re-platformed on a better.
I love how they keep saying it's anti-freedom. It's like, yeah, people don't associate with a bunch of fucking racists and bigots. It's not a surprise to me. We keep getting deplatformed by all these woke corporations. It's like, well, maybe they don't want to do business with you.
And regain everything that was lost.
Isn't that capitalism?
Now we're promote both because we couldn't trust anybody. That's perfect analogy.
Yeah, you can't. I get it.
Yeah, we've definitely had these conversations with the guys, and we
understood what it was that we were trying to build. And I saw them go into war mode. And that's not something that a lot of people will do. That's not something you do for a job. That's not something you do if it's just business.
Well, I don't care. The long story short is that, like, yeah, he's probably going to still make like $7 million or so, whatever, from Mug Club on a regular basis, in addition to all the money that he's getting from Rumble. But there's no question that he's been taking monstrously huge hits in popularity, in large part due to, I'm guessing, the non-stop avalanche of accusations from former employees that he is wildly inappropriate. He's a sexual harasser, that he often sexually harasses male employees, that he's constantly showing his dick to staff, that he's asking for drugs and giving drugs to employees. It's honestly, it's not a surprise. And yeah, I guess people are going to continue to buy up this shit, right? They're going to continue to be like, oh well, I mean, he is a legend.
Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form, available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
Thank you kindly to our Lord and Saviors Peyton L. Just and Xander Corvus. Without you, we are nothing. And now, a shout out to our Knights of the Square Table. Amazing Flesh, Anna Loves Riley, Adrian McCarthy, DM Rivera, Doug Cady, Everything Important, Hagbard Celine, Izzy Solidarity, La Media Panza, Matthew Scarborough, Multimondi, Nettle, Omni, Peanut Butter Blonde, Political Papi, Quiet185, Rachel K, Riley and Anna, Roller Dragon, Kubi, Cernicus, Spinach Monster, Stellar Vision, Sebastian Demmel, Thomas, Trevbot EXE, Lucidry, Words Greenwood, Cheryl Alvarez, Tony Perkins, Thomas, O'Pecker, Travis McClinton, and Victoria Bell. Thank you so much. And a huge shout out to all the other people who make this entire show possible. Without you, it would not exist. If you can support us, please go to patreon.com/theserfs, and even $1 can help unlock all of the little goodies and help make this show entirely possible.